Hello and welcome back to Chaotic Neutral Games for Numenera, for what will be the last time until we come back to this. We're not sure when we're coming back, but this is definitely the last episode of our Odyssey. We're nearly home. We're nearly across the Steadfast. How's everyone feeling?
Oh, sad.
A little bit sad?
And I also don't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Like, I've just been sat prepping and I'm like, is it? No. Yeah. I don't know. It's just been going on for over a year, so it's very weird to see it end.
Yeah.
But before it can end, it has to start. And so we are going to watch some titles. And welcome back. We are going down the Weir River from Threast to Key. The Weir River cuts the Steadfast in half, and there's been lots of interesting little journeys along the way. Some stuff in the sky, some stuff in the river, a town you moved through last week that was had an interesting story to tell. And we're nearly to Key. But one more interesting thing happens as the river takes you onwards. Well, one more interesting thing happens, but just before that happens, you get to a point where the boatman notes that this is the first point where you'll be able to see the sea, the coast. He points you up a nearby hill. And most of the caravan actually goes up in turns to have a look. And there you can see the coast. Sparkling sea with the sun setting. And you can see very faintly, very, very faintly, Key in the distance. Again, this little kind of jewelled settlement, the sunlight reflecting off windows and maybe metal roofs, small dots floating about it in the air. You camp for the night and move on.
Did you say jeweled settlement?
Yeah, figuratively jewelled.
Okay, just checking.
LJ, what is the last interesting thing that happens on the journey to Key?
So it's less of a thing that happens and more a thing that Letty decides to do. So I think that night, as we sort of set up the boat, I don't know what everyone's doing. I guess Philo is, cleaning up dishes and like putting some bits and pieces away. I guess people are playing by the fire. What's everybody doing? I don't know.
I think I'm probably listening to Matilda having a go at me. Well, not having a go, but making slightly pointed remarks.
Yeah, Matilda's actually telling you about your onward journey, about
there we go.
the deal that she will be able to make. She's got friends who own boats, and I should be able to get you passage, but it will only be passage, short passage south. You could go north if you want, but it'll just be a short passage, and then you'll probably have to go overland if you're going back to was it Vathica you said you were from?
Yes, Vathica, yes.
Right, yeah. So yeah, south and then overland through Scorpion's Reach. There's probably loads of I don't know where her accent's going. It kind of went scouse, and then there was something there that because she's northern. I know this. It's been so long since I've spoken as Matilda. But yeah, she's telling you the details.
Too.
Yeah. The details of your onwards journey and kind of telling you what the deal is.
So what you're saying is we have to get on these boats exactly, otherwise we're paying for ourselves?
That's the long and the short of it.
And speaking of payment, I mean, obviously, you've brought us with us and, I'd like to say fed us, but I really feel like Felix. No. Anyway, but, at some point, might we get a share of, the gains that have been made?
Well, George, and George brings over the contracts you all signed, which include a percentage share of profits over their normal profit for this route. George has the numbers. You don't have to if you've lost the money, you don't have to do anything about it, but you do get a share in extra profits they've made. Mm-hmm. Most of the profits we'll make will be in when we start selling stuff in Key. So you're welcome to stick around for a night, and then move on. We should be able to get an idea of the profits we can make. We'll work out a percentage. George will do the maths, and we'll get you your share. As much as I hate to admit it, you have been a boon.
And let's not forget the whole contract about the whole meadow behind the door.
Aye.
Yeah,
yes.
Don't forget to incorporate that, because as I recall, that would be quite sizable.
George surreptitiously makes a note.
Excellent. Well, that would be good. And yes,
as these business kind of discussions are happening, what is Mazia up to?
I sort of feel that Vizia knows that we haven't got a lot of time left here, and she's going to be talking with Alia, and she's going to sort of be looking back at sort of when they first got there, the drawings that Alia was doing, and the sort of drawings that she's doing now, and sort of just sort of showing her the progress that she's made, and sort of trying to encourage her in the future and be you can keep doing this, you can go wherever you want, and if wherever you want is with your family, then that's great, but don't be yourself and go where you want as well. Go to see these places that we've talked about, and just trying to inspire some wisdom. Not that Mizia has very much wisdom, but the little bit that she has, she's trying to pass on.
You get the feeling that Alia is grateful that you're taking an interest, but also feels slightly condescended to. Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Because she was already kind of doing what she wanted. I was drawing with my family and keep selling stuff. Don't want to be leaving them just yet, but yeah, I'll look you up if you're going to be staying around Africa. I'll look you up.
Do.
If I ever am around there.
Definitely come visit. We'll give you a tour.
And then she says, "I'll sit still so I can get a proper drawing of you." And
Vizia will try her best.
Continues the sketch of you. What's Trenton up
to? Trenton is looking at all of the stuff that we can call our own, and this, correct me if I'm wrong, it includes a massive battery.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a power conduit.
Power
it
conduit,
takes power
sorry.
from a generator.
Yeah, yeah, I
Over
remember
long
this one.
distance.
Yeah.
A wireless battery.
Yeah.
Battery's the wrong word. Sorry.
A refrigeration machine. You
Yes,
still
the
have that?
refrigeration machine. Yeah, you didn't give that back. She tried to steal it back, but didn't make it in time. You'd left by that point.
Yeah. Do we have any other random bits of nonsense?
Your atmosphere cleaner
yeah.
got broken, I believe.
It did.
That was Dream Titans.
Yes,
We
the
lost
Dream
that.
Titans
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So you've probably got parts of that.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to clean up the refrigeration machine and make it all shiny and nice. Talking to it the entire time. We're going to find you a good home. Not like the last one. And a bit more, I think you need a stable home. You're going to be all right. Don't you worry. And I'm polishing and I'm tidying, I'm oiling it. I'm getting it ready. Not like a fridge to sell, but more like a pet that is, we're giving away, depending on your home too. The power conduit is coming with us to Bathco. Is that right, Clegy?
Yes.
Is that the whole? That's the whole reason that we were here.
Well, at this point, do we really care anymore?
Yes.
The what?
Yes, we care.
The power what? I don't remember us having one of those.
Does
Shit,
it
we left
actually-
that down the road.
Does it actually still function? Because it's been
all right, I'll test it.
months. Yeah.
I'll test that as well, and that's probably going to take a lot of time. Just like making sure that the thing's ready to sell, and then the power
Popping the
conduit
dings
is all right.
out, pretending that we.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Precisely.
you've been paying attention to this on the whole journey. Way out in the beyond, it didn't seem like it was working very much. It didn't seem like there was much power coming. But as you've been getting closer and closer to where it came from, it's been generating more and more power. Or not generating, because it's not a generator. It has been providing more and more power. So you think probably by the time you get back to Vathka, it will have the amount of power it needs.
right.
If Vathika's systems are still working.
Months.
That's been months.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that's largely what I'll be doing, and just organizing everything for the last trip so that we know I know where everything is, and we can like detach from this caravan effectively and go on our own way, dividing theirs and ours.
Fantastic. So yeah, LJ, take it away.
Yeah, so Letty is by the fire as it's starting to burn down. She's hearing the chatter of conversation going around her, watching Mazia try and sit very still and failing. And in her hand, the red-handled knife she's brought with her this whole time is spinning and spinning and spinning above her palm. And she snatches that out of the air. And she picks up a small bag that she's had to one side, and she stomps to the edge of the fire, and she turns around and she says, "I'm going out for a bit. I'm doing a funeral. Anyone wants to come with me, you're welcome to. You're not obliged. I need a new name, and I need a new me. So."
I think as soon as you said anyone, Mazir is up before she was like, "Oh, sorry, I gotta go," and then sort of and then it takes her a moment or two to actually process what you said. She's like, "Oh, I like your old name."
It might not suit where we're going, considering, where I've been.
When you say funeral, you don't mean you are physically going to...
I plan to come back. That would be quite challenging if I was dead at that time.
But there is a process of dying and rebirth.
Look, I'm not... There's...
Figuratively, I think.
People do stuff. Yeah, figuratively.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I'm
Letty,
coming. I'm coming.
would you like us to be with you? Can we be with
You
you?
can
Do you mind?
do what you like.
Then yeah, I'd like to be with you for this.
Cool. Cool. I'm going to go out a little bit. We're just going to wander till we find a good spot for it, I guess. Does anybody else want to come? Ed? Or...
Yeah, Merrin's going to come along, as is Nimchek.
Philo?
Philo will be hesitant, but will come along if asked.
I'm going to ask Aldo to finish oiling a few things that I haven't quite finished yet.
Sure.
It's just here and here, but make sure no oil gets in here, okay?
Right.
None
Yep.
in there, only these two.
Can do.
And-
Philo, would you mind preparing some sort of food for after? I don't know what would be appropriate. Whatever you think.
Of course, I can. Desserts, I think.
Something. Maybe sad yet celebratory? I'm not sure. Go with what you think.
I was about to say Scotch eggs, but there's no such thing as Scotland, so.
We're eggs?
Do we know what Letty's favourite food is?
You know, you'd have thought I'd have come up with that by this point, but I haven't. Beer, I think.
I'm sure during the journey you would have said, Philo would have cooked something and you would have said, this is my absolute favourite thing or something. So
I have a feeling that Kliji said that about pretty much all of Philo's food at
Every
every
single
day.
meal, yeah.
Like, he really... Yeah. Is here. Yes, you think that is helpful?
yeah, I think just, change and particularly where she came from and who she was back then. Maybe she doesn't feel she needs to go back to that life, and maybe a fresh start is what it'll be good for her. And she's right. There's maybe people back in Key that wouldn't take too kindly to hearing her name. So maybe it's a bit of that. But she's changed. I don't have to chain her up anymore. And
That's true. Okay.
If anyone's coming, we'd better go now. If anyone's got a light, I didn't think that far ahead.
I got you.
Thanks, Sunshine. And she sort of turns and you've been, if you hadn't realized, but more and more she's been walking on her own accord these days, as opposed to floating around literally everywhere. And this is one of those moments where you realize she's walking around. This is weird. Hold on, how long's this been going on for?
And Merrin's going to
really noticed.
slip her hand into yours as you're walking along.
Oh. Yeah. So I guess we start walking out and into the dark for a little way. And yeah, we just keep going for a while. I guess we've been at sort of a lush, grassy area, as much as grass exists in this billions of years in the future, whatever it is. And we sort of come to a more scrubby, more dirt area. There's some bigger rocks and smaller rocks, and maybe the intimation of some caves in the dark. And sort of an open area. And Letty comes to a stop. Goes, this look like a good sort of place, you think?
Good. It's got some caves. Caves are good.
Like some caves. Anyone else got anything they want to bury? I should have asked this before we left, but or burn or
leave behind,
yeah.
basically.
Feels a bit selfish being me.
Nimchek reaches into a pocket. A little pendant on basically string. It was the old me, the one who started this journey, who is a very different person to me now, and hopefully the journey has been worth it. But I am a very different person than when I wore this last. Wraps it up and hands it to you if you're going to be conducting ceremonies.
Anyone else got anything they want to give up or leave behind?
I don't think so. I don't really have anything sentimental, and it's just not really me. But I'll support you all throughout this for whatever you need. Is Philo? No, Philo's back at the camp.
Feelers back at the camp. Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Okay, that's it.
Fiji hands over their clipboard.
No.
Nimchek's right. I'm not the same person I was.
Is all the paperwork on the clipboard as well? Wow.
Letty takes it with a reverent awe.
I think Mazir will hand you a part of a handcuff or whatever, the ankle bracelet that probably looks vaguely familiar to you. And doesn't say anything, just sort of, hands it over with a sort of little shrug.
And Letty pulls out of her bag the Vathica prison garb that she started this journey in, the red and black uniform of a Vatican prisoner. And a couple other bits sort of fall out at the same time. There's a small box with a stone snail that grows mushrooms instead of a shell that falls out, and then she pushes it quite quickly back in, and then a pocket watch falls out, and weirdly, like a long chain of handkerchiefs, all of which have like world maps on them. She's like shoving it back in. But
Bunch of flowers.
But inexplicably a bunch of flowers. But she just jams a few bits back in, and she pulls out a bottle of a fine liquor that she pilfered a while back, and sort of piles everything up together. And she also pulls out some of the incenses that she bought in the last town, and a small flask of water, because these are the sorts of incenses that you put into water and then they sort of sizzle like sodium, and they start to hiss in their cups. And she piles everything together, and then she pulls out the red-handled knife, and she looks at everybody, and she goes, so I was a member of Carn Colin, the knife handle, so it was called. This is how we knew each other. They all died on the run after I knocked down the city of Ishlav with a device we didn't know what we were messing with, and they were all nice. They taught me how to steal, how to survive. They took me off the street, and they all went. And that last place we were in got me thinking, because that lady basically had a similar time, and she's built a whole town. She's built a whole town, and she's got everyone around her, and she started a whole religion, and a giant listens to her insofar as it was a giant and not just an array of machines. But to her, I don't think there's a difference. And I've just let myself be in prison for 10 years. So, I think that comes to an end. I think that all comes to an end. So I'm going to set fire to this stuff. And she cracks open the liquor, and she sloshes a bunch on the pile. And I've got yous. I've got me. And we're all going back together.
We've all got different routes to redemption. Some of us don't need a redemption. And some of us may do. I'm not ready to share my crime, but it was a crime that needs a redemption. I understand you, I think. The impulse to punish yourself for mistakes that you may or may not have intended. Intentions are good, but actions are the thing.
Aye.
Your actions, at least in the month we've known each other, I think you've earned your redemption.
Letty just starts crying.
Merrin squeezes the hand as well.
My only regret through meeting you is that I didn't meet you sooner, so that you could learn who you were sooner. So you didn't have to live in that prison for 10 years. And I'm so sorry for that. And I'm sorry you lost your family. Truly am. I was lucky. I had someone who saved me, who did what they could to get me out of a situation I had no control over, no power over, and to bring me into their family and look after me and care for me and allow me to develop and grow. And I'm so sorry that you weren't able to have that too. But equally, I'm glad that we were the people to do that for you. And in my eyes, you never needed to redeem yourself. You had already done that before you even joined us. We just didn't know it.
Letty gives you a big hug. Just tears everywhere. It's a very wet hug.
Does anyone have a way to start a fire?
You know, didn't think that part through.
I got
I
this.
think we're fine.
I got
Just fire
this.
starting.
Yeah, Mazia will sort of look at Letty. If if Letty's got a free hand, she'll grab onto that and just sort of use the other one and just sort of really, really burn it. Just really burn it.
I want to have a hand on Letty's shoulder while I do this, while this is happening as well.
Yeah, I think there's a kind of everyone together, hands on each other, just being there in the moment as these little symbolic bits and pieces burn until they're gone. You smell the smoke of it, you step out of the smoke of it, the smoke again drifts towards you, and you smell the smoke of it again, and you step out, and you keep circling, and the smoke keeps chasing you around the fire, as it always does. Sorry, I'm terrible at being serious. But you watch it until it's gone. And there's a group intake of breath. In for 4, out for 8. And then you...
Can I send off some fireworks? Can I sort of make light and fire and just sort of obviously not actual fireworks, but sort of the effect of fireworks?
Yeah, of course
just
you
as
can.
a little celebration to mark the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely.
To Freshwater Letty. She was the best of us. She will always be part of us. We're going to miss you.
I'll still be here. What's in a name?
I don't know. I've had it wrong all these years. Well, all this time. Honestly, I don't know how I got Freshwater and Letty confused. I'm so sorry. I mean, no, you're Letty.
Freshwater's just what they called me, because we did a job in a salt mine and I flooded it. That's the whole reason. That's it.
It's a good name.
Good thieving name.
Hmm?
Do you have any ideas what the new name will be?
I was thinking we'd workshop it on the way back, maybe.
Mm-hmm. There's no hurry. Just means it'll be "Hey you" for a little while.
I like the sound of that. And just sort of as we all start walking away, I think the last thing that she wants to do here, she slips her hand out of Merrin and she gives him a little hug, and because she can't do this while holding on to him, because of the nature of his power, and she just sort of turns, and she just exerts the most amount of power she's exerted at any point up to this point, and you see in the like the sunlight that Mizia provides, like she's planted both feet into the ground, and you see like her neck straining, and you see sweat start to go like down her brow, and then you see with her last advance she took a move called Move Mountains, and sort of a 10-ton shock of rock just basically pushes itself up from the ground, slowly but surely, over the course of a couple of minutes, and then she lets go, and that took, I'll just remove it from my character sheet, 9 points of intellect.
Oof.
Yeah, she lets it go, and she takes Merrin's hand again, and she's ready if everyone else is.
Let's go and
Lead
get
the way.
some post-name change food. A celebration. Welcome to our new member.
Indeed.
And she passes the bottle around as we walk back.
Bob, No, Bob. Rupert, no.
If we wanted to stick with you, we could go for Eunice.
Hey, Eunice.
No,
You
does
need-
that feel right?
You know, no idea is a bad idea.
That was a bad idea. And yeah, little laughter as you walk away. The camera kind of pans up the side of this pillar, and you see the little smouldering items on top as you walk back towards the river. Campfire in the distance, starting to smell. You didn't give Nimchek tons of time, so he's just done pancakes. With little bowls of various fruit compotes he's made over the time. Bits and pieces to build your own. And we fade out from there. We fade back in a few days later as the river winds lazily towards the sea. The closer to the sea, the larger the meanders. There's points where you actually get off the boat and walk and wait for the boat to come back round the meander so you can get back on. A little bit of time off the boat while still making forward progress. And you start to hear the town. You start to hear the sounds of voices. This is the largest city I think any of you have ever been to. Definitely the largest city in the Steadfast, without question there. And the thrum of the city as you come in through the outskirts, as the river winds through, it's kind of infectious. There's a not necessarily a joy to it, but a life to it. Much more life than any other place you've been so far. And the barge finds its way all the way to the markets in the centre. I'm going to have to remember where everything is. Yes, the market bridge. The last bridge before the sea. There are 3 bridges. You go under 2 of them and dock just before the last one, where you can see lots of other barges which seem to be mostly ferrying from the port, where you can see tall ships, most with masts and sails, some with other means of propulsion, but I'm realising the crickets have been going the whole time. It's not, it's daytime. And you start to unload. The Calaptor are quickly thrummed with people who, the Calaptor aren't unheard of, but they're very rare. And so there's a small crowd gathering as the Calaptor are led off the boat, and Rhodes is kind of keeping them at bay, but also telling them about the wonderful beasts, as Rhodes is wont to do. The carts are unloaded. Matilda pays the bargeman, and you make your way towards the market. Up a kind of lazy slope, moves up into the market square at the end of this bridge. Again, the scale. Largest market you've ever seen. There's so much space here. But Matilda knows exactly where to go. She's been here a fair few times before. She has her contact. She knows how to get her spot. And you wind your carts through. It's morning, but kind of mid-morning, so the market is definitely in full swing now. So she'll be lucky if she can find a space. But she knows best.
Of course
She kind of basically waves you all off to. go and explore. Come back tonight, and we'll do the organising tomorrow. You've all got pocket money, right?
Barely. But I
All
won't
right,
waste away.
She hands out 5 shins to you all. George, mark that down. And says, "Come back tonight. We'll have a meal together. We'll sort out the details. But enjoy the city. There's lots to see." And as you do that, a huge metal cylinder hums moving over the market.
Oh.
And then a
What,
second
Mary, where does that go? Is that a transport system?
you're ignored.
George,
Yeah.
is that a transport system?
No, that's a Jev. It's peacekeeping.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw one unfold once. Got tentacles.
Is it alive?
I'm not the person to answer that question. I don't think so.
So is it safe to say that this is quite a safe city?
Safe if you're not doing anything. You know, it's a merchant city. Don't piss the wrong people off.
Who's in charge, do you know?
Well, it's the Amber Pope has the seat here. They are in charge, sort of, but it's merchant families actually running the actual city. You know, it's an uneasy balance as far as I know. I try not to get involved in the politics, to be honest. That's Matilda's job.
Matilda, yes. The merchant family system works where I'm from, so I don't see why it wouldn't work here. So that's great. It's my first time in Keys. Is there anything a first time I should see? Any must-sees in Key?
If you can get to the upper city, that's always worth a look. He points, and you realise now that the shapes in the sky that you saw at a distance and that you've been kind of squinting to look at, getting closer, is dirigibles holding up a large amount of the city, buildings. Half of the Key is in the sky.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and you can see, looking up, the Jev floating around, mostly around the centre of the city. You can see the palace of the Amber Pope. You can just a slight change. Not merchant families. There is a mayor, but it's democratic. The merchant families vote for the mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's a fair and democratic election.
A 5 men, 5 vote situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do people get up to the upper city?
You pay for a trip up there, unless you can get up yourself.
There's nothing to stop people making their own way?
No, it's just, if you can't, you gotta pay for it. Points at one of the dirigibles. That one is the mayor's house. So I probably wouldn't land on, the lawn there. But most of the places, you can see the walkways. They're all open property.
Right, excellent. Thank you.
Well, I definitely want to go.
Have a good market session. We will see you later. Right. We off?
We are off.
Sounds good.
Yeah, as you leave the market, you realise you're on the top level of the market. It's a multi-layer market. It goes down.
Is there any
Everything
sort
in the
of...
city is levels.
Is there any, order to the market? Is it like one layer for one thing, one layer, or is it just absolute essential chaos to newcomers anyway?
Yeah, like chaos to newcomers. Give me a roll, see if you can figure out any kind of pattern.
Right.
And Trenton can also give a roll, and you get your skill in organising for this.
I have a skill in perception just for seeing things.
Okay.
I'm from a merchant town. Would that help?
I'll give you that as a background asset.
That's 13.
13, okay.
10 for me.
10. But yeah, I think both of you are about the same understanding of this. It's just money. The higher up, the more expensive it'll be.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
that's the arrangement.
As we're sort of going through, can I just poke about stalls, like particularly any like bric-a-brac stalls, anywhere that looks like someone will sell me some tat, but try and like put a really good story on it. That's that's the shop that I'm looking for.
Yeah, that'll be a couple of layers down, because you get high quality goods up here, but below you will get high quality goods.
Yeah, that's what I'm after.
Yeah. So, is anyone else going
I want
down
to
into the
find.
markets?
Yeah, you'd say.
Yeah. Like, Kleegi looks at how many shins they've got, and they're like, okay, well, if you're saying this is the expensive level, I need to go down about 4 floors here.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, down. There's so many good stories, and Letty's trained eye starts noting pickpockets also. Busy place like this, of course there's going to be some. And also, the Jev can't really look down here, considering it's undercover. But yeah, Nazir, what? Anything specific you're looking for, or are you just looking for a good story?
I think she's kind of looking for something. In her head, she wants to find like a memento of the whole trip. Obviously, there's been so many sort of parts of it and that she's not going to find some, a conclusive story. But she's trying to find something that feels right as a memento, and she's just going to add it to one of her pockets.
We've got a shard of glass from the shimmering field. We've got roses, ice roses from the deep south. We've got chips of the black riage float by themselves. Bits and pieces.
Sounds legit.
Yeah. Anything you can ask for, really. Like, this is where you get everything. If you're not in the Navarine.
Yeah, she'll have a look, and she'll, it's not an impulse buy. There is some thought, sort of behind it.
Yeah. Let me know what she finds when she finds it.
I will.
What's Trenton looking for?
Trenton is looking for a fresh fruit and veg sales. A greengrocer, I think is the word I'm looking for. A greengrocer that just seems just really nice, but it's possibly too nice and isn't doing so well. I know that's really specific, but
yeah, that's going to be a roll. That's specific enough for a roll.
So I think the first thing I'm going to be looking for is a greengrocer that obviously isn't doing too well. But I'm probably not going to be on this level. I'm probably going to be at the level we started at. Someone that's quite good and it isn't quite winning the competition.
Have you told the rest of us about this, or are you just doing this?
Should I just go off by myself?
Yeah,
you can come with me if you want. I'd say yes. In short, yes, I'll have told you that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so all I was going to say is that Philo, one of his skills is like relating to gossip. So, can I give the asset of Philo's gossip to find out? He's got his ear to the ground.
Does Philo want to come with me? Because Philo's obviously writing
Of
this
course
book.
Philo's going to come with you.
Yes.
He's writing this book on fruit and veg and cooking and meals.
Yeah.
Again, recipes. Those are the words I'm looking for. And yeah, so I mean, he can say this produce looks really good, just not quite fresh enough for me.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, hey, you know what you need? You need this massive thing that I've got downstairs that I've obviously not got with me. And I'm going to do a little bit of selling. But yeah, I want to identify it down on their look, not quite winning greengrocer.
Yeah. So roll-wise, you've got an asset from Philo.
I have perception.
Okay. Yeah, I'll allow it this time.
That's probably all I'm going to have on
Okay,
this one.
yeah.
But I'm determined to find a good home for Frigid.
Are you going to use your edge and like put some effort in?
Am I gonna use my what now?
You're going to edge yourself.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna, yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now.
Is that the first time you've made that joke?
Yes,
That's
literally is.
impressive.
I know, 29 episodes. That is good for me.
Two efforts, please.
2 levels of effort. Very nice. So
Spreadsheet
4
person.
assets for this.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about your. Yeah.
That is a 13.
A 13 with 4 assets. Yeah, that ends up being like a 25.
Yes.
You're great. You're grand. Yeah, you find someone, barking like a proper greengrocer should.
Yeah.
And you're getting the impression that there's a lot of noses being turned up. And you look around and you see the vibrant greens. This fair few greengrocers seem to have collected here by chance and by kind of inertia. If someone's looking for greens, they'll go to the greengrocer area.
Of course.
And yeah, the greens of this greengrocer aren't quite as green. There's a little brown, a little kind of wilted. And you can tell by his accent that he's not a local.
Okay.
And yeah, Philo points out a couple of things and said, "These have come quite far. I wasn't expecting to see some of these."
Okay. Thanks, Philo. I'm gonna go in, and is this a human man?
Yep. He's kind of bald. He's got a set of quite large glasses. Portly, but solid. A solid man.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
My colleague outside. He's we don't want to advertise it too much, but he's writing. He's a chef of some renown, and is writing a book and is trying to source local fruit and veg as well as exotic things. And well, it's embarrassing to say, but he had his eye on a number of things that you had, but unfortunately, they're just not fresh enough. And I was. It's awkward to say, but.
The farms I bring stuff in, they're quite far afield, so that they travel a fair bit further than some of the others. So it does mean, actually, it's better growing down there. You've got nicer sun towards the south, so they grow much better, but it's hard to...
They look very tasty, very exotic, and they're just the things that he wanted, but unfortunately it's just not... They're just not fresh enough, and that... I was wondering if you, I know of somewhere where you can get a device which will keep your things fresh. And
he squints a little at this.
Yes, I'm sure you heard this all the time, but I can demonstrate. I do have it with me in the city. I can demonstrate this. And, well, I'm not a local either, and I know how things are in this, dog world of greengrocery. It's famous, and it's always nice if I can support an outsider. My family were outsiders in Shalamas as well, and we got established.
I thought I detected a Navarrene accent.
And I'm a little far from home, but obviously not the only one. And it'd be nice to just even the playing field a little bit. especially with someone who's obviously trying so hard to bring in something a little bit more exotic that some of the top chefs are going to be really interested in. Would you be interested in me bringing my device down to show you how it works?
I'm going to take a persuasion roll here. You get an asset for the talking about outsiders stuff. That worked very well.
Weirdly, I don't have disadvantage. I don't have an inability in pleasant social interactions, but I don't have any assets in this one. Again, I'm going to put an effort into this because I want Frigi to have a good hand.
Okay.
And that is a 14.
What did you call
Frigi?
Okay, Frigi. All right. I like.
Sorry, 14.
Sorry, I rolled a 14, yes.
14 with your assets. Yeah, absolutely enough. Greengrocer. Oh, it can't hurt to have a look, can it?
We've used it, so full disclosure, we've used it to get to Key from all the way over the Black Riage. We've traveled a long way and it's kept everything so fresh. I can take it back with me. I'm heading down to Vathica, but I don't know. I feel that it can be used a lot more efficiently here. I feel like it's running on 10% of its power, and I think it can really use its full potential in an establishment like this. So,
so am I coming with you, or are you going to bring?
No, I'll bring it to you if that's okay. When do you close?
Well, I close when everything's gone.
Okay,
Simple.
well, I'll bring it down soon then.
Well, I mean,
I just don't
if
want...
the sun's down, the market's closed, but,
It just might be better that the other greengrocers don't see it.
Oh.
Just get an advantage without them knowing how to stick a screwdriver in it somewhere. You know what they're like.
This guy goes to a ledger and, rips off a corner of it and writes an address. If you don't want to bring it through Greengrocer's Lane, there you go.
I'll be back in a couple of hours. See you there.
See you then.
And also, my hotel number.
I'm going to take that risk. I'll thank Philo. And I'll buy him a few things if he's interested. I spend a shin on something from this guy,
Yeah. By the way, his name is Wallace Gregory, Greengrocers.
Oh God! Really?
Yes, really.
Nice. Okay, fine.
And then
looking
I
for
will
inspiration.
go.
Her eyes gloss over it. Go nope.
I'll go and get the device. I'll go and get Frigi, and I'm going to cover it in a tarp. And I'm going to bring Frigi down to meet Wallace
Yeah.
at said mysterious address.
Yeah, we'll go for that a little later.
Okay, that sounds good.
What are Clegy and, you up to?
I think Cleegy's just sort of wandering and taking in the place and hasn't got anything in mind to buy as such. So it's just sort of getting the nuances. But he's definitely come down to the cheaper levels because unlike some people in the group, it doesn't quite seem to have the same number of shins as everybody else.
Yeah. The lower levels, as you get lower, the light gets dimmer, but then suddenly gets brighter again, as you realise there are mirrors set up to reflect sunlight down into these lower layers, so it's bright as the upper layers.
I can honestly see Clegy just stopping and admiring the whole system. I assume it's like what they used to do in ancient Egypt, you bounce the mirror down.
Yeah,
bounce the light down. Yeah, he'll be slightly distracted by that, and then like I say, just wander around, enjoy the ambience.
Yeah, and there is a lot of ambience to enjoy: smells, sounds, sights. people. I'm going to keep saying Letty because we don't have another name yet. Letty, what are you up to?
The artist formerly known as Letty.
Oh, you called
I
it
don't know
as artistry, is it? Is that what it's called?
The art of theft.
Phrases con artist.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're planning to visit the upper city later this evening or something, as a group, or because I think you is tempted to go up. But I think I'm probably inclined to at least wander the markets and see. There's some itchy palms going on. Like there's a bit of I could just have my run of this place, but there's the feeling of like different era, different time. I have 28 shins in my pocket. I don't need to worry about this right now.
Yes, and this is probably a thing you would know. You would know about the Marish clan.
Ooh.
The family-based crime organisation that lives in this city.
Yes.
That you probably don't want to be stealing on their turf.
No. Yeah. Thoroughly aware of Marish. I feel like there's been some Concal and Marish interaction in the past.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. Some intercity crime trade. Yeah, so I think she's gonna head down, not too far 'cause she's got a lot of cash to spend, but also she's got a bit of thrift to her. And she's mainly looking around, looking for a name. I think she's looking at like shop signs and in the wares of merchants to see like labels and anything that feels like it could be, this is my new brand, you know?
Yeah.
She's looking at like, I could be a sword guy. What if I'm a sword guy? No, I am a weedy little mite. I couldn't be a sword guy, but you know, that's what you is up to.
As well as the the actual shops which are more permanent here, and the temporary stalls set up, and the permanent stalls that have like temporary inhabitants, I guess. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. There are regular sections where artists of all kinds congregate, and some where performance squares, some bandstands. You get puppet shows, you get juggling. There's tables where that the dominant form of chess in the Steadfast, that three-handed chess. Boards are set up with chairs with hustlers on them. Really, there's all sorts here to look at, to see. Anything specific catch your eye? Or are you just still trying to bring everything in and process?
Yeah, I think new day, new me. Don't have to be doing anything here. If there's some nice bits and pieces she can get for the gang. She's got a fondness for picking up items of clothing now, I've realized, for people. So I think if she sees any like funny hats, or she remembers how Trenton really loved that Robin Hood hat back in the very beginning of our journey. I think she's just having a look around to see any knickknacks, any trinkets that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a haberdasher or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any team hoodies. 2018 at the back.
Yeah. So yeah, a wander around the market for everybody, finding bits and pieces, and the day wears on. The sun moving, around the south. You can see, watch the mirrors actually readjust automatically to keep the lower levels lit. There is quite a complex system, it seems. Or possibly, actually, as you look closer, you see there are people just paid to move the mirrors. Not everything is super technological, even in a city like this.
If it works, it works.
Is there like a tattoo artist type person in the market?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think in a slightly devil may care attitude, Khadiji's going to go and get a tattoo done.
How does that work?
Well, that's a very good question. So that will be the first question. Is like, so I'd like a tattoo, but as you can see, I have slightly unusual skin. Can you do anything with this, or do I need to? Like, I do have, and there's like just a little bit of like properly normal skin on his ankle, like but a small patch. Everything else is like not really very nice skin.
I'm not sure that I'll be able to do much, but we should be able to. There's got a friend who he does detailing on weaponry. He's got a machine that can change the colour of metals, and that might actually work. I do want to say, I don't know, I want to be careful, because I don't know if it will work or if it will hurt. I'll be honest, you're the first person I've seen like this, so I'm not sure I could do, but I could send you his way.
That would be great. Yes, that sounds fantastic.
Sure. Yeah, he's a level up, and that corner.
Points in a direction.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, you find yourself in what seems to be kind of a blacksmithing shop almost. There are fires and there are weapons hung up, but no anvils and no hammers. And in place of where anvils would be, there are these kind of cylinders, horizontal cylinders, quite thick walled, on poles, like mounted on poles. The poles seem to be a different edition. We've got two of these things, and you can see someone passing a sword through and gently, like, rotating rings on this cylinder. And as the rings are rotating, it's drawing something on the side of the sword. And yeah, you can see a family crest being printed on basically the base of the blade of this sword as it's being pulled through. And finishes and pulls it out. Nods, passes it off to an assistant, and takes the next sword.
Over the door it says engravings, keys cut while you wait.
Exactly.
Key cut, nice,
Exactly.
nice.
They're also repairing someone's shoe. Look at that.
It's a weird automaton just like hammering very slowly.
That's magnificent artistry. What? Wow! What wonderful
Thank you.
work.
I'm terribly sorry. Who have we met? Are we?
Oh no. A friend of yours directed me to you. He does sort of body art.
Right. Please take a seat. Give me 30 minutes or so to finish this order. Once the pattern's in there, I need to get it out of there. Please wait.
Yeah, please.
And you can see he's got 3 more swords lined up, and needs almost exactly 10 minutes for each one. You can see it takes a little bit longer because you can see you've interrupted his flow ever so slightly, and he needs to recenter.
You threw off his groove, Helen.
Yeah. But ends up basically creating this this set of beautiful swords, hands it off to the assistant to mount them in those things you hang over fireplaces, cross swords over fireplaces. So 2 of them for a room. And once he's finished, he lifts the cylinder off the pole and places it on the ground and just like cleans it, wipes it off inside, and carefully taking care of his equipment. And then he turns to you. Do you want to be painted?
Well, I don't know. I would like it sort of a tattoo, but like on this part of me, not my actual skin part, if that makes sense. This sort of. Do you think you can do that?
Well, I could do that. I could. Well, let me show you. He lifts the thing back up, sets it to some settings, and then just sticks his arm in. It won't do anything to real skin. Like rotates the things, and you can see the interior workings of the cylinder going at it, but nothing changing, and he doesn't seem to react at all. So we could try. We could try. Stick your arm in.
Okay.
Well, first tell me what pattern you want, and then we can stick your arm.
Okay, so it's quite simple. I'd like a K, and then sort of like effectively a circle with like lines in between, and I'd like a little sun and at the top, and a little mountain at the bottom, and then I'd like some glasses to the right. And I'm like quite specific. I give it basically Trenton's glasses look.
Yeah.
And then on the left, I'd like something that resembles food or feasting or.
This is a description of a piece of art. I need a piece of art.
Oh, right.
I'm sure you could find someone and get something drawn up. Come back.
Like, does it need any particular form?
A piece of art. A drawing.
Right. Okay.
Something I can look at.
All right.
I'm going to say, for the purposes of moving along, Ollie is very happy to draw something like
Yeah,
this.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. So basically, I say all of that to Alia and go like, and basically go, I need something to represent Philo. I was like thinking food or fire, but I feel like that's not quite right. Like, what do you think, Alia?
For Philo, honestly, the book.
Great idea. Great idea. Could you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry for making you do that. I had a idea of how it worked in my head, and I couldn't like get away from that. I was like, no, it wouldn't work like that, even though I just invented it. Like,
No, it's fine. No. I honestly was thinking about going to find Alia anyway to get her to draw it.
fair enough.
Because I figured that she would have like that sort of detail that I wanted, and obviously I was going to tell her like, you know, the sun's meant to represent Mazia, so you need to make that, and like the mountains, that's you, and then you know Trenton is like, oh, do you think the glasses are the right thing for Trenton? Like, how would you like? He would have a proper full-on discussion about you know what was the best way to, and then go back with the drawing.
Yeah. So before we go back with the drawing, Mazia, have you found anything you like yet?
I have. So she found a sort of, it's probably about this big, and it's just a piece of, I don't know, maybe some sort of like relatively thin paper or very sort of thin cloth or something, and it's just sort of been engraved or cut out of it a sort of basic form of the Clock of Kala going all the way around, sort of the mountain range. And what it is when you put a sort of a light in the middle, and then it sort of has a little fan, or I had one of these as a kid. Basically, that's what gave me the idea. And it turns around, and sort of the pattern is reflected and sort of in shadow and light. Like, and she's like, "Oh, this is going to be perfect." And she's also actually going to find Alia. And I was thinking about this before you said it, Helen, and I was like, "Oh no, she's stolen what I'm gonna do." And she's gonna get Alia to etch onto it a little caravan and stuff, sort of going along, and so that when it goes round, the sort of caravan sort of like goes with it, and then she can sort of put it in her room and like have a little travelling us with all the sort of like caravans and the calypter and everything.
Yeah,
So nice.
almost like a zoetrope type thing.
That's the one.
Only with shadow. There's a name for that specific type of thing. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, a spinning thing that casts shadows on the wall in lovely patterns.
Oh, you mean the spinning cast shadow machine?
Yeah,
Yes.
spinning cast shadow.
Of course. How could I have
all
not
one
got that?
It's a German thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Again, Alia's very happy to do it. She's going to charge you. She's going to charge you both a shin for the work this time.
Mazir is absolutely delighted to be charged by her.
Yeah.
Like, thinks that's the best,
Yeah.
what a step up for her.
Yeah. When you go back, both of you can see the area where the stores are set up. It's a particular corner of the market which is completely designed for travelling salespeople, for people to come in, set up for a few days, and then move on. And it seems like Matilda's friend basically owns this entire section of the market, right on the top level, like near one of the entrances. Super good footfall, but because it's different every time, people keep coming back. They don't know what they're going to expect. So yeah. And yeah, Aldo seems to be doing a roaring trade, even better than he normally does. He is running the stall very efficiently. And Merrin's, packaging things up and handing them over, wrapping them in brown paper and string, that kind of thing. Yeah, Alia is going to take some time to do that work, and a few hours later, where we move out of the market a ways away, actually over the market bridge to the south of the city, which is kind of more outskirty, a little less wealthy than the centre, where your friend Trenton, your new friend, happens to own an apartment. And so you've lugged Friggy all the way here.
Oh.
Yeah, under a tarp,
Under a tarp.
looking
On like
as
a little,
inconspicuous as possible.
a little thing with casters that you managed to
Yeah, I'll get a trolley.
blag off someone. Yeah.
I would have got it off Michaela or George, I guess, and just borrowed it off me.
Yeah.
Surprised you didn't use Keith to move it.
Who's Keith?
Your little robot thing that you put on the cart when
But
the.
I thought it was. I think it's still there. The little crab.
Yeah.
I think it's
I'm
still
surprised
there.
you didn't borrow it off the cart for the purposes. That's all.
Nah, Keith's happy where he is. Really, he's
Been the car upright.
he's got a job and a purpose in his everyday life, and
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt that.
No.
I probably had a chat.
Yeah.
It was like, Keith, is this enough for you? Are you satisfied with your job? And Keith would have
About
said,
promotion opportunities.
yeah, exactly. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he's like, to be honest, Trenton, here. This is this is my place. And I'm like, are you aware that there's benefits in other places? And he's like, yeah, but I'm happy. And I'm like, well, Keith,
You can't. I mean,
Who
the
am I?
smile must have been like wide at that
yeah,
point.
it was. And so I'm going to leave him to it. In fact, I'm going to walk away and let Keith live his robo
Keith.
life
Yeah. Love it.
independent. So I've got Friggy. I'm going by myself, unless anyone does want to come with me. I am going by myself, slightly recklessly, but I'm going to do it.
And of
Before-
course, I am staying with you, my friend. Today.
Ah, yes.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Just before we go down that street, I'm going to use coaxing power to boost the function for 1 hour. So this thing is so Friggy is just like, oh, let's go. Let's refrigerate some veg. Friggy is up for it. So
Stoked
am I.
this fridge.
Yeah, exactly. So Friggy's
Just to remind you of the function of this thing, it's probably not as quite as large as you're imagining it. It's,
okay, I thought it was like this big.
it's a little smaller than that. Yeah,
Letty
that's-
did lift it off a cart when
Yeah.
she was Letty. and successfully stole it.
You've got levitating powers. I thought
That is
Anyway.
true, actually.
Yeah, it's like awkwardly sized but not bulky, if that makes
Okay,
sense.
that's okay.
And you basically you put one thing on the plate and it keeps that one thing fresh.
But it was underneath a whole
Yeah.
pile of fruit. when we
yes, of
found
the
it.
same fruit. And you basically one sample of that fruit keeps all of that type of fruit alive.
But if there were some other things in that fruit, in with that pile of fruit, that wouldn't work.
Correct.
Okay, that's okay.
Yep, just make sure you've got all the information you need as you make your way to Wallace's place. And yeah, he opens up. Ah, come in. Ushers you inside, and you can see small apartment, crates and crates and crates of food, of the stuff that isn't quite as good as the stuff he has out on the stall.
Okay.
Stuff he's probably going to sell off cheap in this area as opposed to in the market.
Turn it into scrumpy and stuff like that. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
It's a
imagining
smoothie
at the
place.
moment ears of corn
Okay.
mostly is what he's got.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
husk and all.
Corn's
Okay.
trendy.
And so this thing won't like reverse the process. It's not like you put on something that's half rotten and it suddenly becomes wonderful.
No, it won't reverse process.
Okay, Wallace. This has been an absolute lifesaver. We bought it from a reluctant seller. We paid a lot for it in a market. Can you remind me where it was?
That was that near the Catholith? Or was that before? No, it
Before
was before
that,
the
I think.
Catholith.
Yeah.
It was just, wasn't it in the Purple Crystal place, or just the one after the Purple Crystal place? It was the one after the Purple Crystal place where we
the
met.
place that was
First
in the
met.
Purple Crystal.
It was
No,
where
it's the one after it, I think.
Yeah,
it was
so
where Letty first assaulted a child.
Hold on. The child had it coming.
yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's a little ways
is-
I will tell
outside of the
him.
Clock
Yeah.
Parlour.
I'll tell it. Yeah. So we
yeah,
got this
yeah.
from the cloth parlor, and the person was using it there to keep this strange purple fruit that they had there. It was delicious, and they were using it to keep it very well preserved. So people would come along and they would buy this fruit, and this fruit would never rot when it was on top of Friggy. Woof, take off the top.
Oh wow!
I know. So we've used this for all of our travels to keep everything, intact, so that we can still cook from it without it rotting. From a salesperson's point of view, it's great. Now,
Right,
It
and
does
how,
only
how
work-
does this work?
it doesn't. It would take me a very, very long time to explain it. I've studied machines like this, and it
Oh
took
yeah,
months.
but how if I were to operate this, how would I operate this?
Simply, you press the switch here, and
Oh, wow.
you need to, and it turns on, and that's fine. Hear the hum?
Oh, I can hear
It's
that.
now on, and you put on whichever fruit veg, only one kind, so you're going to have to rotate it,
Okay,
and it will
okay.
stay fresh for not forever, but considerably longer than it normally would. Therefore, increasing your profits exponentially.
Oh wow! Yeah, he seems almost dumbstruck by this.
It is. It's very effective, and also from a perspective of waste, well, so much waste, so that's good. Now we did buy it for 65 shins. It's travelled some way. I won't expect more than 50. If you can't afford that, then we do have some merchants here. You'll be able to sign a contract. You'll be able to give maybe 10% of your earnings over the next year, and we can get a contract.
You're gonna have
But-
to give me a roll for this.
Okay.
let me tell you the assets you've got. You've got an asset because this is a Greg Wallace parody, and he seems incredibly excited about
Brilliant.
anything mechanical at all, ever. Anything he sees, he goes, "Oh wow!"
I've polished Friggy.
Absolutely.
Polished Friggy looks
Oh,
like.
wow.
Question, has Trenton at any point introduced the fridge as Friggy? Like, have you referred to it as in the fridge as a he?
Possibly accidentally. I've possibly, I'm not even noticing it. I possibly should say, Friggy does this, Friggy does that. And it's just so second nature to
And
me.
he's a very good boy.
Isn't he?
Never complains.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, it's just, I'm just relying on it looking just beautiful right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got it from Nuru. That's where
Nuru.
No,
No.
yes.
Unfortunately, that is only a 9.
Only an eye. With that asset to keep him friendly, he goes.
I'll spend an XP. Do you want to reroll?
May as well.
I'm really invested in this.
I know.
No, I'll spend an XP because what am I going to use it for? Elsewhere. 18.
18.
Nice.
He nods to himself and under his breath, wow. And looks you in the eye and kind of appraises you as you're kind of standing there a little awkwardly.
Hey, we've got to stick together outside. As outsiders, we've got to stick together.
And he will go to a strong box, which unlocks and brings out a stack of quite large shins, which
Nice.
you instinctively know each of these are 10 shins,
Amazing.
because money in Numenera is weird. Just as a reminder, shins are little bits of detritus, and in my version of the Ninth World, you just know it's a shin.
Yeah.
There's nothing that indicates it's a shin. You just know it's a shin.
This
Nobody
is a
really knows
valuable
why
piece
that
of
works, but it does. And maybe you'll find out in the far-flung future at some point. But yes, we'll count out 4 of these,
Oh,
and then we'll count out 5 single shins.
45. Well, only if I can have a credit note from my chef to come and sample your wares. It'll be
Who do you
trade
take me
for
for?
trade.
Of course.
It's going to go in the book. You will be famous. Trust me.
Wonderful. And Philo kind of, you did not have to do that for me. And the trade is made.
Amazing.
Friggy has
Friggy has a new home.
an ear of corn stuck inside and is keeping all of this corn here in stasis
Amazing.
in this house.
I love that the biggest con of the season isn't by me, isn't by Kliji,
Yeah.
isn't by Mazia.
I mean, to be fair, it's not actually a con.
Yeah,
it does
that's
what it
true.
says it does.
That's
I mean,
true.
but like it was a stolen item. I mean, admittedly, we're a long way from Nuru
Yeah.
now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Selling stolen goods is not a confidence scav. That's just fencing.
It's good to have that clear delineation. Thank you.
Mhm, yeah.
I mean, I've seen most people in my family do that all the time. Where you
Oh,
get it
yeah.
from, it doesn't matter. It's yours to sell. That's
Exactly.
that's the game. As long as you sell it fast enough for it to be someone else's problem, that's fine.
Yeah, this is the most mercantile we've seen
Yeah.
Trenton. It's
Yeah.
interesting to see the changes as soon as you get to a huge market.
He kind of knows, he's seen it. He knows that game. It's all about knowing the games, really. If it doesn't get it, then he just stays back. He's no idea. But if he gets the game, he'll give it a go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. So I have 65 shins and a credit note from Wallace now. So this is great.
65 or 45?
I just got 45 from him, but I already had 19.
Oh, how does everybody have so many chins?
I don't know
I
how
had
you.
like 9 after Matilda gave me 5. Like, how have you all got so much more chins than I have?
I think you've missed some somewhere.
And I think that whenever like someone has to pay for the party, I think Clegy has just sort of like
Yeah,
been the willing bank, and then there has been no compensation for that.
No.
And I'm sure that Letty probably did it. Mazir's forgotten, and Trenton probably wasn't, was looking at something else the whole time. So.
Yeah,
And
fair
Letty's
enough.
been hustling this whole time.
Yeah.
We've had several hustling scenes
Yes.
after I
Yeah.
bought a bunch of things for people.
Anyway, you all get 10 chins from this.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I
Oh.
sold it for 40.
Thanks. 40. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say no. Like, that's literally double the amount of shins I've got. So.
Yeah. Back in the market, you can hear the river and the sea. We return down a few layers to a shop on the corner, an etching, keys cut while you wait, possibly cobbler, who knows, an ironmonger. That's the word I was looking for. Ironmonger. Good word.
Nice.
A monger of iron. Only it's not iron, because who knows what it is. It's whatever metal they can find.
Synthmonger.
Yes. Yes. Synth steel monger. Anyway. Where we find Clegy with an arm in a machine.
Oh.
We are halfway through, and it seems to be taking. Although, the coloration of your metal skin, your metal covering, whatever we call it,
Yeah.
seems to be affecting the colour of the design.
Yeah.
Whereas, when using normal metals, even normal coloured metals, the colour overwrites. You seem to be combining with it or overriding it somewhat. There's
Yeah.
something to do with your combination of this metal with you that has it somewhere halfway between how it just doesn't at all affect skin but does affect metal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
cool.
yeah, you get a slightly off colour but still solid looking image on your arm. A representation of everyone, the whole journey, every single person on the journey.
And it actually, for Kiji, it means that the reason why he's in the center is because now they're not following him, he's following them. I think that's what it really means for Kiji. I mean, other than being the Ring of Family, obviously, but also his mindset has definitely changed.
Yeah. Is there any last thing Letty does in the market as the kind of we roll into the afternoon, everyone kind of picking up food as they go along?
I think she finds a fortune teller or someone who does like palm readings or like whatever the equivalent of tarot is 5 billion years in the future. And I think she doesn't, nameless as she is, she's looking for names in all the wrong places, and then she comes across essentially between two very reputable looking mercantile stands with like swords and interesting Numenera weaponry, and then like there's a gap between them, and then further back there's a fortune teller who's successful enough that they have stayed on the top level, but who is strange enough that you have to go looking for it.
Yeah, they have shawls and robes and layers, and at each layer, tied into the the shawls, there are parts of automatons, you know, fingers or joints or little bits and pieces. And strung up behind her are automaton parts. They're things that look like shoulder blades, like chest plates. Quite often the stuff hung up behind is mostly plating. And you can see some of it has been held in a fire strong enough to fracture it. And you can surmise that this is a form of fortune telling. This is based on I believe it's a Chinese form of fortune telling, where you'd get a shoulder blade of an ox and hold it in the fire, and the patterns you'd be able to read that, much in the way you might read, lines of ants or something, and then you inscribe the fortune directly on the bone. Exactly, Chinese paper. But instead with automaton parts.
Yeah, so I think she, nameless as she is, she walks sort of through a beaded curtain, although the beads are all fingers of metal fingers. And she walks through a second beaded curtain, but the beads are all the knuckle bones of automatons.
Yeah, I was going to say instead of knuckle bones, it's bearings.
Yeah.
So it kind of rolls and you can hear the shh of them rolling as you go through.
And she comes through to this dim, small hut full of these automaton pieces, and this person sat behind and says, "Well, I've not got a name right now. I've given it up. I've got a little bit of an idea of the future. I want my fortune read. If you got a name to give me, I'll consider it." And she slams down 10 shins on the table.
Wow.
Yep, the eyebrows go up, and you can see the figure behind the shawls. They've got quite thin eyebrows. It's quite bad teeth, but very piercing blue eyes. And they scoop up half of the shins and push the other half back towards you, and indicates, without speaking, the array of objects around the room. She looks around, and she just looks back at the ladies. I just pick what calls to me. Yeah. All right.
That's what I would like you to do.
Shin for shin. I'll take that shin bone there.
Ah, yes. They will pick this. You called it a shin bone, but it's more like a shin cover, like a shin pad plating kind of thing. And they will look at it, read the serial number printed on the inside, make a note in the book, and set up a small forge type thing. Several kind of blue flame burners, 5 of them, are all pointing into the centre. So there's a very, very hot point right at the centre. And they take a pair of tongs and clamp it onto the top of the shin plate.
The top or the side or the bottom?
I'll take the top.
Doesn't adjust the hold and puts it in the flame. And you can hear very quickly you see a red hot spot of heat, and you can see it start to bubble. This has got some sort of synthy material in it as well as just metal, and that is bubbling it, and you can see it start to delaminate. This is layers and layers of laminate, synth and metal, very thinly stacked, making it very solid, but probably cheap to manufacture at some point, maybe. Or maybe this was super expensive to manufacture. Who knows? But it's a different kind of material than you're used to. And the heat, as it kind of passes through this, like I said, delaminating the parts, the outer kind of bubbling in that way that if you take a lighter to a plastic bottle, it will. Until such a point as they pull out and switch the flames off and turn the extractor fan up. And the smoke being pulled out of this tent, which definitely been here a while. There are definitely permanent structures in this tent to make it safe to do this. And they begin to read it. A delamination? You're at crossroads. You are seeing several directions you can go. And you haven't yet decided which direction you will go. But I will tell you, points at the bubbling, the extremes are risky. You may get burnt. But it's you. You're also being pulled apart, pulling yourself apart, understanding your own layers. And she will go on to describe a person who has held it together for so long, held together an idea of something, an idea of who they were, and is beginning to understand that perhaps they weren't always this. Perhaps there was something before this, and perhaps they can be something after this. Things change, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's worth doing, but the important thing is to make decisions, to move, to keep going, to keep the change happening. Because if you leave it halfway and they indicate, like, tap on the shin plate, if you leave it halfway, it's just a broken thing. So you need to follow through. And they turn the flame back on and follow through, and the it delaminates fully, and you end up with several plates, some synth, some metal. The outer ones are burned and unusable, but the inner ones are all perfectly usable material. And they will take the outer ones and hang them up, and they will hand you the laminated plates that came out from the inside.
Yeah, she hasn't said anything, I think, this whole time. She's been nodding thoughtfully, and she takes the plates and she nods again, and she picks them up. She walks out.
Yeah, fair enough. I will suggest you all reconvene for some food. Lunchish, late lunch, and show the things you found around the market. Philo has definitely spotted a few good places to eat, so we'll point you in directions of nice street food. Yeah, plenty of stuff, and then you have an afternoon.
Would you be able to, like, fly us up there? Would you?
Sure.
Would you? All of us?
How many we got? 3 philos here for anybody else here?
I would prefer not to go quite so high, if that is I'm going to keep
It's
my
fine.
flips on the ground.
That's perfectly safe, but it's up to you, pal. Sure. Yeah, you going up?
Fiji has a horrible flashback to the bridge
Yeah.
and is like, yeah, I think I'd like, yeah, no, that seems very wise for you. I'm sure there's plenty here for your book that you could, yes.
Yeah.
Just the three of us then.
Well, and you, that'd be 4.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay, everybody. And she cracks her neck. She walks out. She holds the laminate in front of her, and she goes, "Okay." And then you all find yourselves less and less affected by by gravity until you find that you can move under your own power.
It's amazing. Oh, I
Oh,
feel
like
so
swim up.
free.
There's a couple of moments as you're floating up where the Jev draw near, and then a little hatch opens, like a little red eye looking out. And then it closes and moves on. You don't seem to be making trouble.
Nazir.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nazir. You know how sometimes, like, you seem to cause trouble?
No. I don't cause trouble, do I? I mean,
Okay, maybe not cause. Trouble seems to follow you. Is it wrong that I really want to know what these things do?
which things? Those things.
The Jeff.
Yes.
How close are we to?
You're a long distance away.
What? Now that we're theoretically a bit closer, what do they look like? Just
Yeah, so it's a cylinder, about 2 meters long and about 1 meter kind of diameter. Very overlapping plates, basically. Now you're a bit closer, you can see the sections that are overlapping.
Sort of like tortoise shell, not that they overlap as such, but like that sort of
Like an armadillo.
Yeah,
thank you,
armadillo
that's
more
Yeah.
so. I was thinking specifically pangolin.
Oh, yes.
Those kind of plates overlapping.
Yeah.
Scale mail, but rings of metal.
Trenton, do you think you could scan it, see if it's alive?
I don't know. I don't want to put a foot wrong around these, Jeff. It sounds like they just take people.
But scanning it doesn't do any harm, does it?
Well, okay, we're gonna find out. I'm gonna wait until it's got its back turned to us.
How are you identifying a back?
Did like an eye come out one end?
Basically, some of the plates pulled out, and there was a triangular eye in the gap. The eye looked kind of organic.
Okay. Okay, if it's heading away from us, I will scan it from the back. Well, I could tip of the back.
Okay. What kind of distance can you scan at? Remind me.
Short range.
Yeah, so you'll need to get closer to it because it is long range, kind of moving away.
Okay.
Can we sort of meander closer? Like we don't want to head directly to it, but just sort of accidentally end up right next to it.
Yeah. Easy
Or
enough.
can we cause a very, very small amount of trouble? Just that, like, almost not even what you or I would class as trouble. Just as what some people might class as a little bit of a disturbance. to bring them to us? Or is that going too far? Is that too risky?
I could.
Okay. So, I don't know if you'll let me use this, because technically these aren't my followers. But it is the last episode. So I have got something called Mind of a Leader. And when I develop a plan that involves my followers, I can ask the GM one very general question about what is likely to happen if you carry out the plan, and you will get a simple, brief answer.
Yeah,
You let me do that.
But they do have. Two of us do have chips in our butts. So
Yeah, I'm gonna.
That is true. Oh, right, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So what's your plan, Trenton?
Just to get its attention so that it goes, I'm sorry, that's really fizzy.
Yes, I
Get
feel.
its attention. Get its attention so it comes near us.
Yeah.
And then you know, just so it does what it does, did that, and then just go, oh, what are you doing? Oh no, it's okay. You are not a threat. And then goes away, and then I can scan it.
I mean,
Yeah.
how about instead of the thing coming to us, we get we go somewhere that the thing is going to be. Say, if there was some sort of blinding flash of light on the mirrors down below,
Oh, imagine.
and it was sort of a bolt of light was causing issues to the lighting system,
Like it.
they might come to investigate, and you might just happen to be standing there, and then we wouldn't even be.
I like it. Hey, you. How long can you keep us floating for, roughly?
let me just check my character sheet. 1 hour. About an hour.
Okay. And it will probably take about 10 minutes to get up there, won't it? So we've got plenty of time to explore.
What are we
Okay.
all doing? I wasn't paying attention here.
We just want to know what the Jev are, what's inside them, what they do, what they're capable of. It just seems like they're possibly, you know, a little bit. It's authoritarian, but do we? Yeah. Let's just find out a little bit more about them. I think.
Yeah.
It might be
alright.
fun to put a spanner in the works.
Okay. So this is the plan, right?
You say
As
this.
described.
What is this?
So Mazia's going to do.
So I think everyone else will position themselves perhaps near one of the mirrors. Mazia will position herself out of sight of the Jiv, but and throw essentially a bolt of light that is going to cause. Maybe it's not even going to blind anyone. Maybe I'll do a sort of an array of colours or something. So it's a display. It's not meant to hurt anyone. I don't want to cause anyone any eye issues going forward, but just something that they might notice and come down to investigate close enough so that the three who just happen to be hanging about nearby will.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to read the section in the stat block called Use. The Jev are dangerous, capable law enforcers and protectors of Key. They are well respected, but not always well liked. PCs who run afoul of them have likely done something very wrong.
Okay, so this isn't very wrong.
I feel this isn't very wrong, particularly if I do a nice rainbow of light that's just meant to amuse small children and, you know,
Bring
just
some joy.
bring some joy. I'm trying to bring joy. Is all I think.
Okay.
Do they have many rainbows in Key?
They're a coastal city, they get a fair amount of rain. They probably have a few.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I
so
might-
it'd just be an unusual rainbow at that point. That's all, because it's not raining.
Yeah, and I can probably control it enough that I can make it move and, you know, dance. I'm gonna try and make the Northern Lights or something, you know, in that sort of light spectrum of dancing,
Okay.
out of sight,
Okay.
preferably.
And
Let's do it.
As soon as one of them comes within short range, I will scan it, even if it's visible. I'm just gonna scan it. I'm not gonna try and be sneaky.
I'm going to take a roll from Mazia then for stealthily doing this. Because you said you were doing it stealthily.
I did. I am trained in stealth,
Lovely.
actually. I'm also trained in bending and controlling light, and visual perception and sense danger. So I feel like all of those combine to help me with my.
Not the visual perception one. Not in this case.
Can see it coming. But no.
Not in this case.
Excellent. Oh, good. That's a 2.
Yay, it's not one!
I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay.
Just straight off. I've got some XP.
Okay.
That's fine. This is fine. This is
Here comes the one.
no. Dom's
Where's
not
Dom?
here. It's not gonna
Where's Dom?
happen. No. He's all the way over there. He's
Right, okay. Just checking.
3.
It's a 4. Can I re-roll it again? Is there?
I think the way I've run it, yeah, you can spend your XP to reroll it again.
Okay. It's fine. I've got XP.
I'm having flashbacks to the first session where we just kept re-rolling something and I can't remember what it was.
It's like, this is what XP is for, right?
That's a 19. That's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was Kleegi was trying to get past the Orgulian. I actually watched the episode the other night. We're trying to get past the Orgulian guards, and I literally used virtually all of my intellect points to do it. Had used the late inspiration, and then also used 2 XP in order to succeed.
But yeah, you haven't got too far off the ground, so you head back down a little ways, and Mazia finds somewhere to secrete herself, and then flashes of rainbow. There's a general uproar from the crowd. Not uproar,
Going for like oohs and
yeah,
ahs.
oohs and ahs.
Like,
That's
ooh,
definitely
ah.
the word. Those oohs and ahs go up, and a pair of these Jev move down towards the market just to see what's going on.
I will try and make my way.
Yeah, easy enough as they're coming past for you to get a good scan of them. They are indeed automatons,
Okay.
although they have organic interior components as well as mechanical parts. But they are automatons. There's a decision-making computer in there.
Okay.
You don't know, you don't get enough from the scan to identify whether they're sentient or not.
Do I get anything that says they are sending signals back to a central place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I will share all of this. I will share all of this pretty openly, I think.
Yeah. The other things you find inside are canisters of some kind of gas, which seem to be able to be fired out. These coiled tentacles, 10 feet long tentacles,
Okay.
and several nets
Okay.
with weighted corners.
Okay, so crowd control, 100%. Okay. Scary. Tentacles. Don't know what I'm going to
Yes.
use these notes for. But you know, like,
You never know when you might be in key again. Sort of reminds me, Letty, that speaking of that gas, like, you know, when you were fiddling with that thing and accidentally gassed yourself, and then, you know, Mazia had to put you in that like stasis orb, and we had to get you to the place where they could like get the. I mean, wow, that was a long time ago.
That was before we started recording, I think.
It was. It's like
That was
remember
a
that
while back.
that was like, you know, when we sort of pretty much first met, we were just like testing out what you could do type thing. That was fun.
Yeah, first venture out. Yeah, that was my first time out with you guys. I'd been out a couple times before that, as you know, a few teams had been out, and I'd get let out a few times. And you were the biggest team I'd been trusted with on the furthest distance. Really, yeah, nice time.
All I can say, Trenton, because I don't think you were with us for that one, is like, yeah, anything that's got gas in, don't go near.
it's no.
It will
Right.
spray you in the face, and you will have a bad time.
Well, this thing has gas in, so let's leave it well alone. Go quickly explore the upper thing.
Does Mazia rejoin us at this point?
Yeah, as long as I think she was doing that, like she got quite into it. She was just sort of testing out, you know, it's been a while since she's sort of done something creative like with light like that, so she was probably having quite a lot of fun. Got a bit carried away, realized they were getting a bit close, and was like, "Ooh, I should stop." But it didn't seem that they were, you know, she wasn't causing any harm, so she wasn't too worried. But yeah, she'll give it a minute or two, and then she'll go and rejoin them.
They're definitely not to be messed with.
Mazia, is this what it feels like most of the time when you do things like this?
Often this is good, and then there's a very tense bit when, you know, something goes wrong, or you know, but this is the good bit.
Yeah, no,
It's
this
exciting.
is great.
Is your heart racing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
thrill.
amazing. Like, I am weightless, but also like weightless. Wow.
See?
Right, where are we
Coming
going?
around.
Where are we going?
Up.
Up. Okay.
And up you go. The sounds again disappearing down below, and you find yourself arriving at one of the dirigible platforms. I presume you're not going to land anywhere.
No, that the mayor's lawn does look like the best grass. Once
Right.
enough.
And as you alight, there are people in very fancy, you know, footman outfits, basically, with the symbol of the Order of Truth, the four-pointed symbol. You are all familiar with, to some extent, of the most powerful Numenera-based organisation in the Steadfast. This is the Durkal, the floating complex home to the Order of Truth and the Amber Pope. Includes a vast sprawl of buildings. You can see them signposted, libraries, laboratories, warehouses, living quarters, administrative buildings, and at the very centre, this holy palace, this residence and office of the Amber Pope. When you're up here, it actually doesn't feel quite as big as from below. The saying is half of Key is in the sky, but once you're up here, it's actually a very few people are up here. Very few people have the privilege. And privilege it is. It's very well kept, very well manicured. There are gardens, there are walkways, there's a fantastic view. You can... it's a fairly clear day, and through the haze you imagine you can see the shape of the Black Riage, although it is a long way away, so it may just be your imagination. But you can definitely see the weir curving away into the distance, and if you look west, you can look out into the ocean. North, you can almost see the forest that sits just off the coast in the sea. That I forgot the name of, but it's there, and you can see all sorts of islands, which would be interesting to view in the sea. But yeah, wandering around, you get a few looks. You're not regulars up here, but they're not necessarily hostile. They're just kind of, oh, you're new. There seems to be a kind of almost a tight-knit community up here.
Where is the palace?
The palace, as you walk in, you find a central plaza. Think Vatican, think, St. Peter's Square.
Yeah.
Buildings around, presumably living quarters or libraries or something. And then this large, pointed spire. It is a square-based pyramid, but tall, very, very tall. Much, much taller than it is wide. Almost to the point where it feels like it might tip over. Obviously it won't, it's been here for a long, long time. Balcony somewhere up there, but houses, and you can see a few people touristing about, having a look, seeing if they can maybe catch a glimpse of someone important.
Is the Amber Pope resident in the palace at the moment? Is there any indication as to that? Do they have a little standard up, or...?
No, there is never any indication of if the Amber Pope is there or not.
Ah.
There's all sorts of rumours about the Amber Pope. Some say they've actually been dead for several years. Some say they are actually more than one Pope, so if they indicated that the Pope was in residence and the Pope turned up somewhere else, there would be a bit of incongruity there. All sorts of things that could explain it.
And what is access like to the palace?
Very restricted. You can go into the square, but anywhere kind of further into the palace or round into the gardens at the back, yeah, very restricted. You can see guards with glaives stood about.
So presumably people have like different uniforms. Can we see who's going? Is there anybody going in and out of the palace, like the guards are letting through?
Not by any of the doors at this level, no. You imagine that it's all connected.
Yeah.
There's probably people moving about. The other thing I wanted to mention was the materials everything's made of. Instead of like a white stone like you'd expect, it's a brushed metal, a brushed steel. So there's a shine to it, but a dull shine, and you can hear your footsteps clicking as you walk along. Almost kind of sterile, but there's enough beautiful design to keep it from feeling too medicinal. That's probably not the right word, but...
Anyway.
Clinical.
Clinical, thank you. That's the word.
There. What do you think, guys?
Looks like quite a lot of palaces.
I quite like the view. Not such a big fan of the buildings. Are nice, don't get me wrong, but it does feel a little bit like, I don't know, one
Wouldn't
rule
want to
for
live
up here.
here.
No,
I mean, though, do you think this is just a front? Like, I mean, obviously it's a front, but like a front for like what's inside.
What do you think is inside?
I don't know. It could be anything, couldn't it? I really want to look in.
You want to get into the Amber Pope's palace.
Yes.
one of the most powerful people in the Steadfast.
Yeah.
Yes. Who do you think they would let through the doors?
Someone invisible.
That's not going to get all of us in.
You know, I've been doing heists for a long time, and now I'm finding myself the voice of reason for a change. This is not a heist I'd back. This is not a venture I'd... Reason. That's a pretty good name.
Reason?
I'd take that. As the voice of reason, This
This
might not be
is
the
the
time, this
voice
might not
of
be the
reason.
place. It is me, the voice of reason.
But like, oh God, just come on, just work with me
You
here.
can't. You think about what you're saying here. This is.
Who do you think they would let in? Like, what would they look like? Who would they have to be?
I
Nobles,
don't know enough about local
rich
politics.
people.
Exactly.
Noble, rich people, like anyone we've met before, like from the beyond.
Probably not. They're not a fan of outsiders here, I don't think.
What if it was someone who looked? What if it was someone who looked like those people who got taken up into space, taken up into the outside? Sorry. Do you think that would pique their interest?
I can describe to you what Queen Amala looks like from Navarine, but they might be on a similar level, but I also don't know enough about the politics. They might be.
Just
What
give me an
wall is it?
idea. Give me an idea of what the queen looks like.
Okay, she's about my height. She has black curly hair. She has brown eyes and a very small but pointy nose. A little bit of a sneer.
Yes.
Olive skin. And she always wears a ruff, big ruff in her black and gold gowns.
Right. Okay. All right. Work with me here, guys. So Cleege's gonna like walk up towards the gates, but just actually, how's it gonna do this? Is there somewhere before, like quite close to the palace, but like slightly out of sight of like the guards?
Not really. That's kind of the whole point of guards.
I know, but
You
okay.
could go out of the square and find a side alley.
Yeah, okay. So I'm like, okay, follow me. And if it's okay with you, Cleege's going to use their doppeljack ability.
Mm-hmm.
So a perfect copy of Cleege appears within an immediate distance of me. All right? The doppeljack might be a version of you from another timeline, a parallel dimension, or the past, or an instantly spawned clone, or something even stranger.
Okay.
So Cleege is basically going to sort of imagine, based on the description Trenton gave of like the noble, something very similar, but obviously a more of a Cleege version. But so they will
What
look
if Cleege became queen of the Neverine?
So, yeah, I don't think Clegy would be quite up for that. But like Clegy will basically try and think about like their human self. So without like, who they are underneath effectively. And then shape that into what Trenton described. So suddenly you see a version of Clegy who like is a human version of Clegy, but in like royal garb with black curly hair, a ruff.
Very small pointy nose.
I
very
would
small-
like you to take one experience point and give one to somebody else.
Reason can have an XP, please.
The reason being?
Because Reason had reason. And that's quite valuable.
Because yes, whatever plan you were going to do, as soon as you walk into the square, the Doppeljack disappears.
That's interesting. Can I try and just bend some light? Just sort of like, between my hands, just sort of throw a ball of light.
It fails.
Ah, that's neat.
Oh. Can I just check? Because actually the Doppeljack isn't an image of me. It becomes it's a physical NPC.
Right, yes, but it is conjured by your powers, by
abilities.
your
Yeah,
abilities.
that's fine. I just wanted to check.
Your abilities do not work in the square. They have some kind of counter, similar to Merrin's kind of powers, actually.
I was going to say, can I get out some Numenera? Does it look like it would still work? Are any lights flashing?
No, all the lights are off. Yeah, you have to work a hell of a lot harder and a hell of a lot longer to try and get into the Amber Pope's palace.
I will name this the Merrin Fields.
Wonder what would happen if you brought Merrin into the Merrin field.
That's not happen.
Well, now I want to do that. We definitely shouldn't.
No, but
I do want to.
Maybe when he's older and can make his own decisions, but I wouldn't want to make it happen now.
Oh my god, no, I couldn't cope with Matilda. Oh god, no. Okay, yeah, no, that is no. Okay, no, absolutely reason, absolutely.
Clegy, I appreciate the hustle. This is why we case joints.
This
This is why we prep beforehand. I appreciate
Right.
the hustle.
I was just.
I get it.
Sorry, I don't know what's come over me today. I'm just feeling, I don't know, lighter.
Such a
Like I
rebel.
say.
Is that a tattoo you got there?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Look.
Hold on. You're really
Look.
impulsive today.
What's next?
Look.
Did you get anything pierced?
Well, no. Why would I get something pierced?
Well, I thought you were having a crisis.
No. Look. If you like, I'm following you guys. Like, and whichever direction it is puts you a different one of you up. Like, so I can follow. Anyway,
It's nice.
thanks.
That's fun.
Thanks. I
like
know.
that.
Okay, just Mizia, get the giant compass out. Will you a minute? I just want to be sure before we do.
Mizia will get the giant compass out and see if.
I mean, it very much doesn't work in the square. Yeah, just sits inert on your hand.
If I go out of the square,
It hovers. Doesn't seem to indicate anything.
who knows? It might be worth mentioning this to Matilda and Merrin, though. They might know something about why Merrin is Merrin, maybe. As you said, it's a similar thing to him, and even if, well, they might not want to share details of their security with a child and his mother, but it might be interesting for him to just see if they know anything about what causes it, or We could mention it to Matilda. Is all.
Do you think that maybe it's like part of the lineage of like the Amber Pope? Like maybe to become an Amber Pope, you have to have that ability.
Are you trying to say that our dear little Merrin could have, the lineage of papacy about him? He's such a sweet little kid. I wouldn't have wished that on anybody, least of all that little child.
Oh no,
That
but
wee
like
bairn.
they have to be. I guess they have to come from somewhere. Maybe that's what they're. Anyway, this is just supposition.
The whole
I mean,
of the upper city now is glowing amber, with the sunset reflecting off all this brushed metal.
Wow.
You can't deny that it's beautiful in its own way.
Brutally beautiful.
Glad we came up here, I guess. Welcome back to civilization.
It's not really the civilization I want to be part of, though.
Same as
Feels
it
weird
ever
to be
was.
back.
Well, let's enjoy the sunset together before we head back down. Back to the old Scungy markets. Which were actually
For some reason,
quite
I'm
nice.
picturing the scene at End of the Ocean's 11 where everyone's around a fountain, but we're all staring at like the sunset over the sea. And we haven't done a heist.
Yeah, exactly.
We tried and failed at the first step. We couldn't even get in the building.
So yeah, enjoying the sunset and seeing the last kind of line of orange as the sun moves below the horizon. Watching the shadow fall over Key first, and then eventually make its way up to the Durkal. You float down, and on floating down, you can see glow globes have been lit across the city, illuminating the different levels of the market, and indeed the different levels of the city. The entire city is built on these levels. It's different depths, different heights, different structures that seem to have been kind of built up over time. And you find your way back down to the corner of the market where a roaring trade has been done, and a lot of the stuff that you've been carrying for a long time. All the squid ink's gone. A lot of the stuff you collected from the Dream Titans, although there's still a little bit left. There are very few Kaffa shells left, and a couple of notes posted on the boxes that they've been promised to someone who will collect the next day. You already sold the long curved bits of wood back in Threast. Trying to remember what else you collected.
I mean, there was the purple fruit, but there's no way that was coming with us.
That's hidden away in a box.
No,
in the back.
no.
Kibosh on that one.
No, I don't think we even bought the purple fruit, did we?
No, yeah.
Because didn't I send the purple fruit through to the data sphere?
Yeah.
I'd like to think that someone's got one in a crate with like a stamp on it that's gonna end up in an Indiana Jones style warehouse somewhere.
There's a
Absolutely.
stinger after the end of the season where it zooms in like the end of Godzilla. It hatches.
Yeah, exactly. We just see this purple light emanating out of this box and a crack forming.
Absolutely. And yeah, you find the Merrion Oak trading family. You find Nimchek, Philo. They've all retired to the apartments, and a last kind of meal is shared as money is doled out. A fair amount. You did actually manage to make some extra profits. Matilda, her business-like demeanour cracks a little bit as she smiles and, reminiscing over some of the better stories carefully avoiding some of the not so good stories.
Any mention of the leg, or is that sort of...
It's just passed over.
Has she had it carved, or has she kept it like quite trunk-like?
She hasn't done anything to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no.
I remember that she quite liked having the stump, but she didn't like she didn't like telling people that she liked the stump. She was like, "Oh, I've got a bit of a steak now." Just like, yeah, if I remember.
And she asks you, well, who's going where? Are you all going back to Vathica? Where do I need to pay for your passage?
I definitely need to get back to school. I've missed enough time already. I was wondering, does anyone hire out those dirigibles that they use for transport?
Aye, but they don't. They only recharge really. They've only got the infrastructure here, so you can't go too far.
Okay.
I don't think it'll quite reach out all the way to Vathica.
Okay, good to know. But yes, I definitely need to get down there fairly soonish.
Makes a note.
Yep, 2 for Vathica.
Another note.
Suppose I better finish what I was tasked to do.
I'll see it through, and then suppose I've got some exploring around the area to do with some expert help. Hey, Mazia.
Expert help is something that I can provide?
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Proven that time and time again.
Reason. No, not that name. Reason.
Hey,
All right,
hello.
fair enough. She will, right. Reason down. Nimchek will indicate he's going to travel with you until you get to land, and will then move off to his home.
Philo?
Well, I have, I think, enough material to be going on with. What I need to do is I need to get my head down and write, I think. But I can do that anyway. I might as well do it with you.
Oh.
Yay!
And she'll write down Philo. She will hand that to Aldo, who will go and go out and go and book those tickets for you all. The next.
I'm gonna hand.
Oh,
sorry, I'm gonna hand her a note. It's just a handwritten note, and I just say, if you're ever in Shalamas, give this note to my father, Brennett Brook at the Brook Trading Company. Use the passage. The deals will happen a lot better, and hopefully that will help you settle in up there if you go up that way.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Definitely
I
look
really
after you.
appreciate it.
And the note basically says that George and Mavis have really looked after us all this time, and they're really good.
Please tell me you've sealed this note so she can't read that.
Completely. Yeah. And just a glowing reference basically, and to go easy on them when they're haggling.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any last things before we move to the next morning?
No.
The sun rises in the east, casting a lovely light over the city, and as the city wakes up, the market fills, and the ports have been up since before dawn. Matilda leads you to a ship, a 3-masted, fairly traditional looking ship. You can see, though, the planks are curved in a particular way, very familiar way.
Nice.
the whole family is here to see you off, and in fact you're quite near where Rhodes has stabled his Calyptor, and he's brought them out all to see you off. There are handshakes and hugs and small little gifts, bits and pieces passed on so you can remember each other. Alia hands a map and a sketch to Mazia. Merrin, just a little. You were teaching him card tricks, so he bought a deck of cards for reason. George gives kind of a note of recommendation to the school for Trenton for the impeccable work he's done along the way, and Matilda hands a pendant, something made of amber, to Clegy to remember the journey by. And then you're at the gangplank. You are seeing it pulled up. You are feeling the boat being pulled out into the bay against the wind, oddly. There's always something weird going on. And as the sails catch the wind, you start to hear from the shore the Calyptor raising their voices, singing. And you can hear this beautiful symphony, this harmony coming from them. Ethereal, again, unlike any other music you've really heard. And it starts to fade away as the wind catches the sails and you head south. Home, then from home onwards somewhere else. I doubt this is the last we'll see of these four. I doubt this is the last we'll see of Nimchak. I doubt it's the last we'll see of Philo. But for now, they've found their way back. Their Odyssey is completed.
Yay!
That is where we're going to leave it.
Amazing.
There we go.
Thanks,
How are
Ed.
you
That
all
was
feeling?
super cool. That's rounded things up nicely. That's really
Yeah.
good.
Mm.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. I had a lot of fun. I really love Numenera.
It's
I
great.
really like
It's such a
Numenera.
good exploration. Like it's just all about exploration, and it's really focused on that, and I really like that. And just a lot of just getting into the complete unknown. I think that's what really makes it. It's really, really good.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just been an absolute beautiful story from start to finish. It really has. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Helen.
Even all the weird bits that I had to make up as we go.
The best.
That's what made
Yeah.
it. That's literally what made it.
Yeah.
It's just been like to create this together is honestly, it's just been. I'm gonna miss these guys, as in the characters. Like, I'd miss
You're
you,
gonna
but
get me
you're
again.
no, sorry, but like it's like I like. Yeah, I can't speak.
Well, it seems a bit weird to do this, but if you enjoyed our particular brand of chaos, come and join us in the Discord. All sorts of lovely chats going on there. What have we got going the rest of this week, or do you want a little more time, Helen?
No. So there's no Pallid Man tomorrow. So Next thing is on Thursday. It's Cloudgate, which is Mage the Ascension. It'll be a slightly different format this week, I think, because one of the players is absent. Player producer is absent. And on Friday, I believe it should be Benefactor. I know that I said that last week, but it should be happening this week.
Lovely.
And I'm afraid Numenera has come to an end.
Yeah.
But
For now.
if you'd like to revisit, if you'd like to go back to the beginning, if you'd like to...
If you miss us.
If you miss us.
Yeah.
Should you need
miss
us.
Ah,
Should you need
yes.
us, we'll always be here.
Thank you.
Have you seen the movie Labyrinth?
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
yeah, we'll always be on YouTube. At some point, episode 23 will be up properly, and you'll be able to revisit our entire journey from start to finish. And yeah. Also, all the other shows, but we don't care about those right now. This is our finale. But also all the other shows that have been on Celtic Neutral Games, like the Lancer game, other stuff, Numenera.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching and joining us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
thank you so much, Ed, for running this
Yes.
for us as well. I think.
It's fun. I don't do it for you,
Love
I do
it.
it for me. I think I've said that before.
Yeah.
Well, we
You're
benefit.
so selfish. You're so selfish, Palace.
What an absolute bastard.
How dare you provide intricate, emotional story of discovery?
Yeah.
The
For over a
intricacy
year.
is so
God damn you.
overstated.
No, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and a delight to be part of this.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Even
And
the
you brought
bits
us
that
all-
I didn't quite think quite so well.
And you brought us all together, more importantly.
Yeah.
So,
And we should leave.
yeah, we are 50 minutes over time. So thank you for watching 29 episodes of this 12-episode season. Over a
Pretty
year.
close.
Several month-long breaks, very irregular uploads. Who knows how long the episodes are? But thank you for watching. Thank you all for playing. And we'll see you when we see you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye bye.